All right, guys, welcome to this episode of our recap of the 2021 King of Streets All Truck Challenge.
Welcome back to the PDD YouTube channel. We are covering the All Truck Challenge.
So it's time to leave. The night before, we're finishing up everything. Trucks are ready. Josh loads heads up. Mine's still in the shop getting the final things done. And there's a snowstorm that's called for. The next morning we show up. We left like at 2 in the morning. There's a couple of flurries, nothing major. We're like, oh, it's not going to be a big deal. We show up the next morning and it's a freaking apocalypse, I swear. We had like 10 inches of snow. Josh's truck's buried. People are snow blowers trying to clear out snow. I gotta load my truck in this mess. This is my first time competing in this event, and it was in West Salem, Ohio, which is so far away, so very, very far away. So far, long drive. But we went out there and we went and competed.
Everything went good. Nothing. No issues getting out there for the first time ever. And we get there a day early, get unloaded, get our pit set up, and we start with drag racing. So this truck does not have a roll cage in it. Therefore, we ran the bracket class. I didn't really feel like running a 735 and running the risk of breaking out every pass. So I decided to play it super conservative, and I went up there. My first pass was at 8.88.
Right off the bat, I just wanted to see, I needed to know where's this thing at. So I ended up doing like a 7.09, 7.06, something like that.
Josh from Utah. Todd from Utah. They both came from Utah. Thanks, guys, for coming up and seeing us. Trucks from all over the United States. And those from Canada wish they could be here. Oh.
All right, guys, finished the first round of dial-in time. I went a little faster than I was supposed to. 7:35 is as fast as I can legally go. I ended up going to 7:09. On a drag strip, things are different. It's so smooth, it didn't feel fast. Like I felt like, oh, it's gonna be a slow pass because it's so smooth. Then I see a 7:09, I'm like, oh crap. So I was in tune 3, I'm gonna drop to tune number 2. I can't go that fast again or I'm booted off the track. So I'm gonna have to kind of play it safe this next one, try to leave it a little softer. It's very hard to keep this thing under 20 pounds of boost with any throttle. It's the AT51, so anyway, round 2, hopefully I don't get kicked off the track. See what happens.
Yeah, so I might have left a little too soft on that one, but it went 8.88 at 88 miles per hour, and before everyone gets on us, I already told everyone we weren't running crazy. 735 is the max. I didn't want to break out, and honestly, the drag racing portion, if I cared, I would have put a cage in it. So we're just here to get as many points as we can and save the truck. We're already off to a better start, no oil on the windshield.
We left a little bit harder and we went 8.28 at like 90 miles per hour.
So my next pass was a 7.32, which was still too fast by 3/100ths of a second, but I was glad because I knew I'm close. Alright guys, so I'm having a hard time getting my speed right. 735 is as fast as I can legally go. I'm having a hard time going that slow. I put it tuned down to 2. I've added a bunch of weight. I just ran a 732. I want to be very consistent how I lead the line, so I don't want to try to do it with the pedals. I want to do it with weight. So I added some weight. I ran just a touch under, so now I think we'll be pretty good. I'm at a little more weight, so I should be able to fender race now, and yeah, I think we got a reasonable truck. Not as deadly as I've been in the past because I am scared about breaking out, and if I do that, I'm out off the track. But we'll dial a 740, and hopefully we can be competitive. So round 1, here we come. first round came, and I feel like I got a good light. I know I had a better reaction time than my opponent, and I went to shift second gear, and all of a sudden it just lost all power, like just turned off. Then it came back on. I got the throttle again. Thought, well, I can get around this guy, but to no avail. It stopped again. So I was able to drive the truck back to the pits, but the 2 times in the race of power, it didn't work. And so I was like, man, something's really wrong.
For the third round, we went and did an 8.22 at 92, but I ended up lining up next to Tim Mahoney, so I kind of raced an actual race, which was hindsight 2020, kind of dumb because we're trying to set an index. So I roll into the first round of eliminations with an 828 dial. My first competitor was Tim Mahoney. He had a 750 dial, I had an 828. It was a Sportsman's tree. Tim left when my light went green, which was awesome for me, not so awesome for him. So we got the win on a red light. We went back around, didn't change the dial. We drew Robbie Garcia. That truck was actually running like full throttle, like 750s. So in essence, he was very repeatable on his bracket time, but I felt like I could make up some time on the tree. So I tried on the tree. I went negative 004 red light. So just barely, but I ended up losing that round. We ended up with 460 points, more points than I'd ever gotten before at All Truck Challenge, because if you guys remember last year, we had the piston crack on our qualifying pass.
Power driven diesel team coming out of Utah. Kicks and starts, getting it off the line.
And then we went down the drag strip against David Petrick, broken just to get points with oil going all over my windshield. So we were already off to a much better start.
All right, guys, we are here in the tent. First round did not go so well. I had 3 awesome qualifying passes, flawless. Got to my first race, and transmission, we think, well, we know it's failed. I lost all power. It was going great. I think I had a good chance to win the first round, but lost all power. I was able to limp it off the track, and we've got a line pressure gauge figured out. We have no line pressure in this trans, so something's not right. So transmission's coming out right now. These guys' transmission's coming out too. Transmissions are the Achilles heel of any diesel truck. You make tons of power, get it to the ground is always a trick. So anyway, we're gonna pull this trans out, take a look at it, and see what's going on. So follow along when we rip it out. All right guys, it's like 2:30 in the morning. Transmission is back in installed. I have awesome line pressure. The little tricky making this work is a 47 RE transmission. I think an 06 Dodge is not compatible really. So I do some wizardry to make it work, and Meyer got it figured out. And anyway, we're gonna get this thing going and hopefully have a great day tomorrow, and hopefully our transmission problems are behind us. And we have a great rest of the event. And hopefully pretty quickly I can get some sleep as well as everybody else. We're pretty tired. But anyway, excited about it. Should be good.
Friday night, we had a bunch of guys that had tranny problems. Todd destroyed the sprag in his case. David damaged his direct drum with the second gear band. And so we just kind of helped them out. Stayed up far too late. Went to bed. Sarah called for the street drive Saturday morning. So we went ahead, got the Bogarts off, bolted on the 420V tires, loaded the truck up with 9,000 pounds, because whatever you street drive at is the max you can weigh for the sled pull. So 9,000 pounds was the limit. We went over the scales at 9,010 pounds, and we hit the road.
They said, go out, clock 100 miles in your odometer, come back, and we'll check you got 100 miles on, and we're good to go. So away we went and did a 100-mile drive, and everything was good there.
We took off on our little groups. It's different this year. Last year, we all had to stick together. This year, Sarah's just letting us get 100 miles on the odometer. We got Todd, Gordon, Mario, and David and I, and we're gonna knock out this 100 miles in the rain. We have to drive at our sled pull weight, so we have 9,000 pounds. I chose to fill my truck more with people because it's easier to get rid of the weight, but we got 9,000 pounds. This thing is basically on its bump stops. And it's, what do you guys think about the ride?
Other than the occasional railroad tracks, I'm gonna say it's pretty good.
And you guys can see here, that DDP, dude. Guys, I don't want to jinx this just yet, but we have rounded out just about half of the trip. We actually have quite the collection of trucks now. I saw about 8 of them, which is kind of cool, and we're just enjoying the trip. All right, guys, the street drive. We have our 100 miles, but it won't count until we get to the gate, which is coming up right here. And I don't even think the fan clutch came on. Tranny, Meyer did a fantastic job on. And the compounds have not fallen off the truck yet. The engine still has oil pressure. These are all good things. I don't think a single person's fallen out. We got David right behind us, Gordon, Todd, and then, like I said, we picked up quite a few others, and it's all good. It looks like everyone made it, and that's what you like to see. I would not recommend transporting 9,000 pounds in a truck that doesn't have good suspension, though. We are on the bump stops and you can feel it, and we are back through the gate. 100-mile street drive. Whew, it feels good.
There, we get back and it's time for sled pull, which is really, really cool. Excited about sled pull. So I don't know much about sled pulling because I'm very limited experience in it. All my sled pulling has been I'm the godfather at the UCC events with dual cut tires, massive power, huge turbos, and that's it, and it works really well. So I was pretty nervous about this one, about how it's going to work, but you know, Josh has done this a lot, and he's like, you don't need a lot with a long bed, with a long mega cab that's really good for that wheelbase. We're going to get some airbags back there, pump them up high, and you have traction bars, and that's really it.
Went through the 100-mile street drive, no issues. I would be lying though if I said I wasn't really nervous, especially around that mile marker, like 40 to 48, right where we broke the line last year. But this one, no issues at all. I was really happy with it. We had Tyson, Shad, and Meyer in the truck, just kind of listening to the radio. It was nice, see heaters on. It was just a good time. Got back from that and it was still raining, so we were kind of waiting for Sarah to decide what we were going to do next. She decided sled pulling, so we went ahead and pulled the 420s off, put the duals on, and we run that Truxis STS or Interco Truxis STS. I don't know. You guys will see it in the video, but those tires on, got the truck weighted down with our weight box in the front, locked up in the back, and then we had that awesome drop hitch to meet the 20-inch hitch height.
So the street drive is over. You guys got a little time lapse. Honestly, I'm exhausted. So the lack of effort is noted, and I apologize, but we got the sled pole set up on. Meyer's just finishing up the last little bit. Got about 1,200 pounds up front. We can add more if we need it. And Truxis are on. Dooley's looking fat.
So the first pull went smooth, went good, and I think I got like 5th or 6th. I don't know. I never even found out how to check the scores. Josh was always telling me what I did. I know there's a Facebook group. I don't do Facebook, so I don't even know how to do that crap. So anyway, I think I got 5th or 6th the first pull, and then I realized I had it in tune 3. And so the next one I tuned up to tune 5, and I pulled quite a bit further, and I think I got like 3rd, or maybe that's when I got 5th. I don't know, I pulled like 340 feet. I ended up getting 5th overall, I believe, in the sled pull portion of the event, which is really cool because I didn't anticipate doing that well in the sled pull portion. It wasn't like an event I thought I'd be particularly strong at.
So the first sled pull, I'm pumped, good engine, good trans, good turbo setup. I hit it, I go first gear, second gear locked, 2-3 locked, and I'm at 6,250 RPM going, this didn't seem right. So I grabbed overdrive. As soon as I grabbed overdrive, the boost spiked. We hit 142 PSI boost, blew the driver's side intercooler boot off, and we coasted for, I would say, 40 feet. Didn't go that well. Popped the hood, saw it was just a boot, drove it off the sled pole track, and we headed back to the pits. The only thing the boot hurt was it pulled the engine ground off the out of the plug, so to speak, like out of the crimp terminal. So we fixed that real quick, went back for round 2. All I did was I turned down the truck a little bit, so we went down the track, tune 3. We never grabbed overdrive. We just hung it out on a 6,500 RPM limiter with 2 110 jets of nitrous. And we ended up going 385 feet. The only competitor that beat that footage mark was Bubby Payne. He went 388. Unfortunately for him, though, he did have some kind of a mechanical problem and he did not finish the event, but it was a good time all in all.
during the sub pole, one of our friends, Gordon, hurt his motor. So we were trying to attempt a motor swap on his truck to see if we can get him ready for the dirt drags the next day. And it turned out just too many variables that weren't quite going to work. And so a lot of the guys stayed up late trying to get that thing fixed. But in the end, we weren't able to get him running for the next day. So Gordon, who was actually in a really good position after the sub pole, he pulled really, really far. He really pulled a good pull. He was out of the competition, and he was just helping us out after that point.
I am in 9th place, but because there was 2 people ahead of me that were broken, theoretically we were in 7th going into this. So I was actually like, wow, we might have a top 10 finish. This is awesome. We pulled the sled pull stuff off, pulled the outer dual off, so we ran just 4 of the STS tires, and we hit the dirt drag. I've dirt dragged twice in my life. Both times we did really well. I just basically leave like I'm just trying to be ignorant with it, like 20, 25 pounds of boost, and I just let that thing just eat.
The dirt drags were really cool. I've never done it before. It was a 250 feet, which in my mind is such a short race. It's dumb. I'm like, this is dumb. It's 250 feet. It's surprisingly fun. Shockingly fun. Really want to do that again.
We went number 4 qualifier on that, so we got 470 points because you got 500 for the first qualifier all the way down. We did really well on that. I was very happy. The only thing we did was check tire pressure.
Get your picture on Facebook after the fact. How's that?
My fastest CT was a 3.6 second pass, something like that. And so I was in the upper top 10, top 5. However it worked out, we had the bracket was kind of strange how it worked out, and I got to buy the first round. So I got some points for the first round. The second round, I drew Chris Patterson in the bracket. And he's the guy, you've probably seen by now, he hit 3,000 horsepower at this event. So that was really, really cool, 3,089 horsepower. So he has a very powerful truck, very competition oriented, similar to Josh's, really built for competition, not as tow truck I'd imagine. He's got a roll cage, he can go fast. Really cool build. So I drew him. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know if I have any chance of beating this guy, I've got to get him at the tree. I've got to beat him at the line if I have any chance at all. I think when I look at the slip, I have 4/10 of a head start, 4/10 of a second head start. And nobody's that far off in the race. I'm like, oh, he's faster than me, but maybe a 10th, maybe 2 in the short race. So if I have a 4/10 lead, I know I got him. And I was way out in front of him, and it was awesome. Like, oh, dude, I got this race easy. So I hit 2nd gear, going great, went to 3rd gear, and then I realized I didn't go to 3rd gear. And he comes and passes me at the very last little bit, and he beats me by 5/1000th of a second. So we had a tie at the end, but he was just a little bit ahead, so I actually got out.
And then we started the eliminations. First round we had a bye. Second round we do Javid Petrick, and he gave us a return favor from last year. He had hurt his converter, so we just coasted down the track. So essentially I had 2 buys.
Well, I believe these are tap and goes, ladies and gentlemen.
Our third competitor was Tim Mahoney. Left on the tree really good, and I would say Tim and I were pretty close. I'd say less than 5 feet apart. I had so much momentum. I slammed on the brakes and ended up going into this like little retention pond, which was not very fun at all. I hit my head on the wheel pretty good. Our next competitor is Brad Daniel. He had a single cab long bed, 6'4", awesome guy. That truck sounds really nasty in the video, like sounds honestly better than this. He had like this really hard limiter. I got lucky. I slept on the tree, left in tune 1 instead of the right tune, and something happened with his truck. I think he said the wastegates. I was able to just get by him. Then we drew Joey Adelman in his Duramax in the finals. Everyone told me Joey's really good at the tree, so I really focused on that. I feel like we got him on the tree and then it never was able to catch up. But it wasn't like we walked to this guy, like he was still within like the door panel of us. And it felt really good to win those 500 points. That was the first event at that event in my time there that I ever actually won a portion of it. So we got 470 points for that, 500 for that. And the recipe was just tune 3, same thing we sled pulled with, 2 110 jets. It ran really, really clean, really cool, and I was happy with it.
Here I am. This is like the funnest thing. This is so fun, and I'm out. So live and learn. I got to practice on this with this new shifter on the street and get more used to it. So it's a second nature to grab that handle and shift. So just time in the seat. I didn't get much time in the seat, and that's because we decided to do this so late. The build went amazingly well, but at the end of the day, there wasn't a lot of time for me to practice driving it around before we went to Ohio. So out in the second round, but that's okay.
The last event that we did Sunday was the dyno. You went in the order in which you got eliminated in the dirt drag. So we were already going last, and it just kind of stacked up that way. Anyway, we put the 420s on and we got in line.
The next event was the dyno. I think that's all that's left is the dyno. And so we built this truck. They said before it was about 964. You did 964, 980. It's done like 960, 980 horsepower in our dyno. You know, different wheels, different tires, but right around there. Never crossed 1,000 horsepower, but it's pretty close. So we upsized the injectors a fair bit, and I upsized the turbo on the atmosphere side. I kept the small turbo small, so it's really street friendly, and which it totally is. And I put on a big GT55, and I'll have a video soon about that whole build up, so that'll be cool. But I went up there, and my first pull, he was talking about load and different loads, and the guy before me had done like a 50% load. I'm like, yeah, that seems good. Let's try that. So I did it, and it pulled through it like on my dyno like it was unloaded, like there was very little load. And I did like 1,350, 1,360 horsepower. I'm like, wow, that's a good number. That's really better than I was anticipating. I said, I really think I'll do better if I add some more loads. So we added another 10%, and I think I ended at 70%. Maybe it was 1670 or 1560, whatever it was. I ended up at 10% higher. And that actually felt like it did have some resistance on the truck, so that one felt better. And that one ended up at 1,462 horsepower. So I was like, wow, man, that's a good number. Way better than I anticipated this truck being. And it is a ride on the street. I'm gonna have to give you guys some video of this thing out, just doing rolling Bernies in third gear, and just it's so much fun.
We watched everyone dyno. We watched David dyno. The last 3 trucks are me, David, and Chris Patterson. So David dynos, he did like 1,800. Again, he was just dynoing on a Hurt converter. Chris Patterson does his first pull at 2,400 horsepower and then cranks it up and smacks 3,000, which is absolutely insane. Kind of cool to watch. Going into the dyno, I was in first place by 20 points. Second and third were tied. Both of those guys, one did like 1,200 horse on the dyno. Justin Duffy did 1,700. So I knew I didn't want to be like cocky, but I knew this had like 2,000 in it. So I was like, okay, we're good there. Chris Patterson was number 4, 30 points behind us. So when Chris went to 3,000 horsepower, he was obviously in first in the dyno. I had to be in third. So Chris did 3, Ben Francis did 2160, and then Steve Giordano did 2023 or 2033, somewhere in there. So I knew we had to be in third to win. If I ended up in fourth, I was going to tie Chris, and because Chris placed better in a couple of events, Chris was going to win. So we loaded up a tune-up, put it on the dyno, did the calibration with Rob, and we just smacked it. Tune 5, all the nitrous that I thought we needed. We ended up with a number of 2123. We sat up there while Sarah and Matt checked the points to make sure that what I had calculated was accurate. When we found out that we did win, we just pulled it off the dyno. And from there, we just kind of enjoyed it. I called my wife. She was the first one I told, and then kind of celebrated with everybody else.
He knew the number he had to make, and so he went up there and he made maybe like 100 more. I mean, he's pretty close to what he needed, and he's like, all right, so we got the organizers, the event organizers out there. And he said, hey, I want to make sure this is what it is and that's what that is before I don't want to do another pull if I don't have to. And so we verified, yeah, you're in third place right now. Josh, you are the winner of the whole entire thing. And he's like, all right, unstrap me.
For us, the night wasn't over. Gordon hurt his engine. We put the spare engine that we brought into Gordon's truck, the one that used to be in this truck, so that way he could take care of his like snow plowing and stuff like that. So we got him taken care of. I think we got it.
Anyway, super fun event. After that, I had a long drive home. The guys had to finish putting Gordon's engine in. They got that in enough where he could put it on his trailer and drive, so he could get home easy.
And then we hit the road and headed home. We got a really nice trophy. Obviously, there was some prize money.
First place, Michael Lucio. No.
It's all right, Michael. You know it was coming.
I knew everybody was paying attention though, because they were like, "Wait a minute." Josh McCormick. Congratulations, guys. See me for your checks, and I also need pictures with your trucks before it gets dark, so don't go anywhere.
All in all, I had a good time with the crew that we had. It's always good to see our East Coast friends. Sarah and Matt did a fantastic job, and all the guys at Smoke and Speed, I felt like ran that event extremely well.
Yeah, in the end, it was a fun event. I'm glad it's over. I'm glad he went, and I'm really appreciative of all the help we got on my truck here. Tyson was huge. Tyson was my main guy. He built this engine, and he helped me put this truck together, put a ton of hours into it, and just so grateful for him. And Meyer putting that transmission together in the middle of the night there on night one. That was huge. And so, and obviously Josh, the kind of like the team leader for this one, he kind of like organized the whole thing, and it was just huge. The amount of effort these guys put in this was just awesome, and I just got to go play, and it was super fun.
Yeah, we'll be back next year to defend our title as the All Truck Champion or All Truck Challenge Champion of 2021.
So that's my recap of this event. It was very fun to go to, very fun to watch, very fun to participate in. And yeah, hopefully you might see this truck performing in a few more contests in the near future or whatever comes up, because it's a lot of fun. So anyway guys, that's it for now. Hope you enjoy this, and yeah, we'll check you next time.